Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat. This is a partially built Predator 79cc. This is a pile of really cool parts. Together, this is Microbikology. Let's get to work, guys. Okay guys, where we left off last, we were looking at making some clearance for our carburetor because we are going to be hitting the fan shroud right where the coil is, okay? So we're probably gonna have to come out, I don't know, I'm assuming, well, you know what, let's put the fan shroud on, find out for sure. Okay guys, remember these little aluminum spacers are gonna go in between the shroud and the crankcase, okay, where they attach on the little lobes. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we're gonna hold it roughly where that space is, alright? And I'm basically right up against the coil because the coil is spaced away from the block as well. Alright, so if we are just trying to get a fuel line on there, alright, and we already know our rod is gonna make the corner because we're going to the outside hole now. I'll show you that in a minute. We look back there and we got an idea. Alright, now we're going to have a couple gaskets too, but we're also going to have our billet intake out here, alright? So we got to leave space for that. We don't want to keep eating these threads up. So we want to keep this thing as skinny as possible. I have a piece of steel I think we can use. Alright guys, so what I went ahead of here and did was I just took the stock insulator, adapter, whatever you want to call it, alright? And I just placed it on this piece of steel like this. And then I whacked it with that grill paint. And this is the outline of what we're going to need. Alright guys, I got my step bit. And I'm going to try to drill the holes first. That's going to be the most important part. Alright, first thing I did was grab the smaller bit. Drilled some pilot holes. I'm going to try to ream this out a little. Alright, here's what I got. I think I'm just going to bore it out a little bit. Left side of that hole with my drill. Okay? I'm going to go cut this thing out. I'll use an angle grinder or something. Okay, here's what we have so far. So it's pretty much lining up. Okay, I can see I'm still just a little bit heavy on the bottom, and we can clean up the edges on the outside. Okay guys, here's what I ended up with. This thing's pretty sweet. Okay, I'm leaving a little bit of cyborg meat on the edges, alright? Just so I can be sure I can squish any gaskets, but if you push this up tight, we're looking pretty good. I'm gonna get that thing off there, take it outside, smack it around with that grill paint, guys. Alright guys, so when we hold this on, you can see that my hole's just a little bit bigger, alright? That corner's a little messed up, but instead of really messing with that, all I'm going to do is take my file and I'm just going to take this edge back and kind of bevel it, alright? So that way as the air and the fuel is going in, there's less resistance. Okay, here's what it looks like on. Alright, once everything's in place, nice and smooth. Alright, there's going to be some gaskets and stuff involved, but you know, we got to give this thing its best chances. So next up, we can put our gaskets on and, well, seeing if we have enough gaskets and then putting the carburetor on. Alright, so far we are looking very good. Alright, it's looking pretty clean. Here comes the true test. Guys, we did it. Oh man, now that that's done, we can move on with our throttle rod. Try to find that. Okay guys, this is not the stock rod from this motor or another one of these motors. What this is an automatic choke rod, okay, off of a machine that I've been working on for somebody. They switched it to a manual choke, so they no longer need this. This is the remainder. Okay, this end is already done for us. We're going to go in this hole here. Originally it was in that one, now we're going here. Okay, so we'll get that in there. Bambla jam, we're in there. Okay, and we already have our hole drilled from our spring earlier. So what we're going to do is find where that's set to full throttle, I believe. I mean, that's what the rabbit's telling me. So I'll make a mark and then I'll bend it down. We'll see what happens. Okay guys, so here's my rod. Alright, I'm kind of flicking it around and everything's a little loose, so I got my velocity stack here. Alright, I'm going to put a gasket on. I'm going to put this bad boy on. Alrighty then, that thing's on there, nice and snug. Check this out. Awesomeness. Okay, pumped, super pumped. Plenty of room for our fuel line to go on. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is have some way to make this thing move with a cable. Yikes. Oh, that's right. Somebody already figured this out for us. Thanks, Go Power Sports. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is back this off a little bit. Alright, the cable's going to run through here. It's going to attach to here by its barrel. It's going to do this thing, alright. It's going to make the throttle work. It's going to be kind of short, but I don't think we're going to be using a lot of low throttle settings on this. And then we need to attach a return spring. Okay, I'm going to be taking my arm off for two things. I'm going to be drilling a hole opposite this black spot here on this other side over here next to it. Alright, that's going to be where my spring attaches. And then the other end of my spring I'm going to attach to a small bolt right here. Okay, and so that the tab doesn't hit that bolt, I'm going to cut that off with my grinder. Alright, so here's what we got. Okay, and that is pretty nice, but every now and then we might get hung up like right there. Okay, and what that is where my rod comes through. It's just catching our linkage. Alright, it's catching that top rail. Alright, so if we tighten this down more, it brings this up, right? But if we keep tightening this nut down, it's going to bind, it's going to get tight. So what I'm going to do is take it apart again, take off the plastic washer on the bottom. I'm going to put a few big metal ones, okay? I'm going to raise the whole thing up so this whole thing raises up level. And then we can adjust how tight we want it. Alright guys, well I ended up going live over on Tampa Boys Customs for a little bit, hanging out with my Def Duck Racing friends, a few other people. This is what we got, alright? This linkage is killer, okay? Our throttle cable will come through here. We are nice and level now, alright? We can adjust this back to forward, whatever we want. Our our cable will come through. We'll have a clevis on this side. All right, and it's going to pull just like that. All right. The idea is that we're going to be running a thumb throttle with this, and we have now shortened the distance so that we'll be able to get full throttle with it. Okay. We're sitting nice and level. I believe I added one washer. Okay. What it is this thing is fluted, okay? This bolt that comes up, all right? For lack of better words, it's more like a stud. And it comes out of the linkage, all right? And then the other part is held on with a nylock nut. And originally there was just that plastic washer, okay? So I put a metal washer that is sitting on that fluted tapered part, all right? So that's holding us up. And then our plastic washer is sitting on top of that. And then we just have our linkage and then our nylock nut, okay? And now we are clearing everything. And it's very, very smooth. Let me start it up and show you. Alright guys, that's probably as good a seat as any right now. Choke on. Ooh. Alright guys, we got a runner. It might not be the best runner at this second, but guys, that's just some tuning. We just pulled the governor out of it, added 22-pound springs, put a fresh valve lash on it. This carb right here, okay, these things have to be adjusted, okay? We might just be idle. It could be a little bit of mixture. Maybe we'll check the spark plug tomorrow after we run it a little bit, because we're going to get it on the bike first thing. All right? Make sure you get over to Tampa Boys Customs and check out the live session we had tonight. Had a lot of fun over there. A few of our buddies stopped by, okay, from Def Duck Racing, Sam's Garage, some of the other guys. All right? You have a good night. Thanks for watching. And as always, it's a work in progress.